Usually, when we talk about the most extreme objects in the universe, I feel like the mind instantly goes to, well, violence.
Right, total chaos.
Exactly. Chaos, spaghettification, swirling vortexes of doom. I mean, you hear the words black hole, and the expectation is just this blockbuster movie level of destruction.
Oh, absolutely. It's the ultimate cosmic predator in the popular imagination.
Yeah, the idea that you're just being dragged against your will into this cosmic blender, where the gravity at your feet is like so much stronger than the gravity at your head that you're literally stretched into a subatomic noodle.
Which is a terrifying thought. We conceptualize the absolute limits of astrophysics as fundamentally hostile to human existence.
Totally.
And I mean, logically, that makes sense. We are fragile biological creatures. We naturally associate extreme forces with pain and destruction.
Right, but what if the most destructive force in the universe is actually somehow the ultimate destination for absolute peace?
It sounds like a total contradiction.
It does. But today we are doing a deep dive into a stack of excerpts from a truly mesmerizing text. It's titled Beyond the Event Horizon, A Journey into Cosmic Silence.
It really is a fascinating read.
It's incredible. And the moment you step into the framework of this text, that whole violent blockbuster movie projector just like powers down.
It completely inverts the narrative.
Exactly. The source material takes the terrifying mechanics of a black hole and completely flips them. So our mission today isn't to run some terrifying thought experiment about being torn apart by gravity.
Right, no subatomic noodles today.
None at all. We are using this text to explore a journey into a black hole as the ultimate exercise in psychological relief. We're looking at profound silence and really the immense power of simply letting go.
Which, from a basic survival standpoint, sounds completely counterintuitive.
Right, like why would I relax into a black hole?
Exactly. But from a physics and psychological standpoint, the text is this brilliant synthesis. It manages to take the harsh realities of general relativity.
The actual math.
Yeah, the actual mathematics of how space-time bends and how time dilates. And it translates all of that into a roadmap for mental lightness.
It's so cool.
It really is about changing our fundamental relationship with the unknown, transforming a destroyer of worlds into, basically, a sanctuary.
So let's step off the ground, because the text starts by taking you out of the atmosphere. And it doesn't do this with, roaring rocket engines or shaking bulkheads.
No, it's very gentle.
Yeah, it paints this vivid, almost impossibly smooth visual of just floating just above Earth. The text explicitly tells you, tonight, there is nothing you need to do.
Nothing you need to solve.
Right, nothing you need to remember. You are looking down at the oceans, shimmering under the moonlight, and the cities are glowing softly like golden constellations.
That specific visual, the cities as golden constellations, I think that's a profound inversion of our normal perspective.
How so?
Well, for all of human history, we have stood in the dirt and looked up at the stars, right? We do it to feel small, to feel awe, to escape our immediate surroundings. But the text places you above all that.
Oh, wow.
You are looking down at humanity, seeing the glowing grids of our entire civilization as just another gentle, harmless arrangement of light in the dark.
That's a beautiful way to frame it. And as you move further away, the text really emphasizes that every familiar thing, every deadline, every email you forgot to send.
Every argument you had that day.
Yes. Every unresolved conflict, it is all physically tethered to that shrinking blue marble. It honestly reminds me of the overview effect.
Oh, the cognitive shift astronauts talk about.
Exactly, when they see the Earth from space for the first time. But the text pushes it even further. It's like putting your entire existence on a cosmic airplane mode.
I love that analogy, cosmic airplane mode.
Right. Because down there, the grid is buzzing with anxiety, traffic is jammed, people are arguing, your phone is ringing. But up in the vacuum, the text actually says, the universe asks nothing from you.
And the psychology of what the text is doing right there relies heavily on spatial mapping.
Spatial mapping? What do you mean by that?
Well, human anxiety is usually tied to physical proximity. If a threat or a stressor is, like, in the same room as you, your cortisol spikes.
Right, you're on high alert.
But if it's in another city, you feel it a lot less. So the text is using the literal, staggering vastness of the solar system to forcefully detach your nervous system from your daily life.
It's weaponizing distance for relaxation.
Exactly. It doesn't just snap its fingers and put you in deep space. It methodically pulls you backward past the local milestones of our solar system.
Yeah, it takes you past Mars,
Yeah.
past the asteroid belt, past the massive storms of Jupiter and the rings of Saturn.
Methodically zooming out.
Right. And it makes this very deliberate point about the sun. As you travel, the sun becomes smaller. It stops being this blinding, life-giving fire in the sky and just becomes another bright star.
Its warmth fades away.
The warmth fades, the darkness deepens. Now, I gotta ask, biologically speaking, my instinct as a human is that fading sunlight and encroaching darkness should trigger an ancient survival panic.
That's a very fair point.
Right. Like, how does the text bypass that biological alarm bell?
By completely redefining the nature of the darkness.
Mm.
You see, in our evolutionary history, darkness means a lack of information.
Like, a predator could be hiding in the bushes.
Precisely. But the darkness of deep space, as the text presents it, isn't an empty, threatening void. It describes the surrounding space as filled with stars like diamonds scattered across velvet.
Oh, right. It's beautiful, not scary.
And more importantly, it systematically detaches you from the very source of human urgency.
Wait, the source of human urgency, what is that?
The sun. The sun dictates our entire existence.
Oh, I see where you're going.
Think about it. Our circadian rhythms, the cycle of seasons, the agricultural calendar that literally birthed human civilization.
A ticking clock of a 24-hour day.
Yes, all of it is dictated by our proximity to that specific star. So by zooming out past the gas giants and watching the sun fade into just another point of light, you are escaping the biological clock.
Wow. You're leaving the concept of day behind.
Exactly. You are drifting into a space where the day-night cycle simply ceases to exist. Human anxieties lack the gravitational reach to follow you out into the Oort cloud. You are completely untethered from the engine of time that drives earthly stress.
Untethered from the engine of time. Man, I really like that because it reframes the isolation, you know?
It makes it a feature, not a bug.
Right. You aren't lost in the dark. You are finally free from the blinding glare of the daily grind. And once that familiarity of the solar system completely fades away, the journey doesn't just leave you in a void.
No, it has a very specific destination.
It's leading to this incredible encounter. We finally arrive at the first sighting of our destination, the cosmic shadow.
The central paradox of astrophysics, an object defined entirely by what it traps.
And the description in the source material is just mesmerizing. The text points out that, unlike a planet or a nebula, a black hole doesn't glow.
It doesn't reflect light at all.
Right. It has no visible surface. It describes it as a perfect darkness and a shadow carved into reality itself.
Such a stark image.
And surrounding this perfect shadow is this brilliant, glowing ring of twisted, bent starlight. Now, whenever I've read about gravity on this scale, I feel like I always encounter the same textbook analogy.
Let me guess. The bowling ball on the trampoline.
Yes. Imagine placing a heavy bowling ball on a stretched rubber sheet, and everything nearby just rolls down into the dip.
Ah, the classic two-dimensional representation of space-time curvature.
Right. But frankly, I've always kind of hated that analogy.
It has its limits, for sure.
I mean, it feels completely inadequate here. It requires you to use gravity, like the ball pulling down on the sheet, to explain gravity.
Circular logic.
Exactly. It doesn't capture the three-dimensional reality of what the text is actually describing. And more importantly, the idea of falling into a heavy, inescapable pit is terrifying.
Sounds like a trap.
Right. If I am supposed to be relaxing on this journey, how do I look at a shadow carved into reality and not feel an absolute primal dread?
You're completely right to reject the rubber sheet analogy here. It is fundamentally flawed for exactly the reasons you just mentioned.
Okay, good. So I'm not alone in that.
Not at all. It implies a downward pulling force. Right, a violent dragging into a pit. To understand how the text makes this comforting, we have to look at how general relativity actually models gravity.
Okay, walk me through it.
And we have to look at how the text beautifully translates that model. So Einstein showed us that gravity isn't a magnetic-like force pulling you across space. Gravity is the shape of space.
Gravity is the shape of space.
Yes. So instead of a rubber sheet, imagine space-time as a flowing river.
Okay, a river.
Far away from a black hole, the river is wide, it's calm, and it's barely moving. You can swim in any direction you want.
Got it.
But as you get closer to a massive object, the river of space itself begins to flow toward the object.
So the water is moving, not just me?
Exactly. It's not that a force is reaching out and grabbing you. It's that the very geometry of the universe is sliding inward.
Oh, wow. So the space I am occupying is moving, and I am just moving with it.
Precisely. And the text emphasizes this by focusing your attention on the bent starlight, the accretion disk, and the gravitational lensing.
The glowing ring around the shadow.
Right. It talks about light flowing smoothly around the invisible object. By focusing on that mesmerizing, smooth curvature of the universe around the shadow, the text completely strips away the concept of violence.
It changes the whole vibe.
It does. It's not a monstrous vacuum cleaner sucking you in. It is simply a majestic curvature.
I see. It's the difference between being dragged down a rocky cliff by a rope versus just floating on your back in a deep, smooth current.
That is the perfect way to put it. Think about it. In our daily lives, we fight gravity all the time.
Every time I try to get out of bed in the morning.
Exactly. Every step we take, every time we stand up, we are exerting energy against the mass of the Earth.
Yeah.
We naturally associate extreme gravity with being crushed under a heavy weight.
Right.
But in free fall, which is what orbiting or drifting toward a black hole actually is, you feel totally weightless. You don't feel the pull.
Because you're moving with the space.
Yes. You just feel perfectly still while the universe glides around you. The text turns what we usually consider a cosmic monster into a gentle, inevitable flow.
That is so wild. And that flow naturally draws you closer to the boundary that gives this text its title, the event horizon.
The famous point of no return.
Which, ironically, is the part of the deep dive that I honestly found profoundly, deeply relaxing.
Really? Most people find that the scariest part.
I know, but the text actively dispels the anxiety of borders and barriers. It explicitly reminds us that the event horizon is, quote, not a wall, not a gate, not a physical object.
It is purely a mathematical threshold, just a specific coordinate in space-time geometry.
Right, and to explain it, the text uses that river analogy we were just talking about, but it takes it to its logical, extreme conclusion.
A waterfall.
Yes. It says, imagine a river approaching a massive waterfall. Far upstream, you can swim freely.
Right, you have choices.
But as you drift closer, the current becomes stronger. Eventually, there comes a point where the speed of the current flowing over the edge is faster than anyone could ever possibly swim. That specific point of no return is the event horizon.
Because in general relativity, the event horizon is the exact boundary where the river of spacetime is flowing eastward at the speed of light.
Which is the speed limit of the universe.
Exactly. Since nothing in the universe can travel faster than light, once you cross that invisible line, no amount of energy, no rocket engine, no physical effort could ever move you outward.
Wow.
The geometry of space inside that line only points in one direction, tomorrow, and inward.
And here's where I really want to dig into the psychology of this, because my initial reaction to a point of no return was honestly just claustrophobia.
Which is a very normal human reaction to being trapped.
Totally. But as I sat with the text, I realized the author isn't trying to make you paddle harder to escape the waterfall. The entire emotional thesis of this section is about the profound physiological relief of realizing the current is too strong, and therefore you are allowed to stop swimming.
Which taps into one of the most exhausting aspects of the modern human condition.
Decision fatigue.
Decision fatigue.
Exactly.
The burden of agency. Having to constantly steer the ship. What do I do next? Did I make the right choice? Should I take that job? Should I pivot my career?
We're always swimming against the current.
Always. Our entire lives on Earth are spent fighting currents, trying to navigate, constantly expending energy just to stay afloat or move upstream.
What this section of the text does so masterfully is explore the philosophical comfort of a truly absolute physical boundary.
Comfort and boundaries.
Yes. Outside the event horizon, escape is mathematically possible, which means outside the event horizon, you are still burdened with choices.
Still have to try. You have to calculate trajectories. You have to decide whether to fire your thrusters. You carry the weight of potential. But inside,
Inside, your path is chosen for you. Every single future path leads to the center.
the source material uses the literal reality of black hole physics to evoke the ultimate state of cognitive relaxation. It completely absolves you of all responsibility.
Because you can't change it anyway.
Right. The struggle becomes structurally impossible. You can finally stop second-guessing your direction because the universe has taken the wheel. The physics literally mandate your surrender.
Wow.
And the text argues that in total, inescapable surrender, you actually find absolute peace.
It's almost therapeutic. You put your oars inside the boat and you drift.
You just let go.
But as you approach this cosmic waterfall, the strange behavior isn't just limited to the shape of space.
No, it gets much weirder.
Right, we aren't just talking about light bending or paths folding inward. We are talking about the fabric of time itself fundamentally altering. Which brings us to the phenomenon of time dilation.
The cornerstone of relativity, and usually the concept that completely shatters our intuitive understanding of reality.
Because we all know the phrase, time flies when you're having fun, right?
For sure.
Or how sitting in a dentist's waiting room can feel like an absolute century. We intimately understand time feeling subjective.
Psychological time.
Right. But the text makes a very firm distinction here. Near the extreme gravity of the black hole, time slowing down is, quote, not in imagination, not in dreams, but in physical reality.
We really have to unpack the mechanics of this because the text relies on the actual physics to deliver the emotional payoff here.
Okay, lay it on me.
So Einstein taught us that space and time are not separate things. They're a single, interwoven fabric called spacetime.
Space-time. One word.
One word. And the rule of the universe is that you are always moving through spacetime at a constant speed, the speed of light.
Wait. I'm sitting in a chair right now in a studio. I'm definitely not moving at the speed of light.
You aren't moving through space at the speed of light, which means all of your constant speed is being used to move through time. But if you start moving very fast through space, you have less speed available to move through time. It's a trade-off.
Like a budget. If I spend on space, I can't spend on time.
Exactly. Now, massive gravity also warps this fabric. Deep inside a gravity well, the geometry of spacetime is stretched.
Okay.
For an outside observer looking at you, the distance you have to cover through time is stretched out. Therefore, to them, your clock appears to tick much, much slower.
Okay, so let's map this onto the visual the text paints for us. Far away, back on Earth, millions of kilometers behind me, clocks are ticking normally.
Yep.
Civilizations are building cities, tearing them down, fighting wars, discovering new technologies. Entire generations are rushing around.
Life as usual.
But for me, drifting near the edge of the event horizon, the massive gravity is stretching my time metric. So to an astronomer on Earth looking at me through a telescope, I would look like a statue. I'd be frozen.
Completely motionless.
But what is happening to my own perception? How do I feel?
To you, locally, time always feels exactly the same. Your heart beats at the normal rate. Your thoughts form at the normal speed. The text says, you breathe normally, you think normally, you drift normally.
So I don't feel sluggish or anything.
Not at all.
Okay, but this is where I need to advocate for the listener's natural skepticism.
Uh-oh, what's the concern?
Well, because when I first read this, I had a real moment of panic. If my time is frozen relative to the rest of the universe, doesn't that mean I'm watching the rest of the universe hit fast forward?
Like a time-lapse video.
Yes. If I look back at Earth, am I going to watch the sun expand into a red giant and swallow the planet in the blink of an eye? Because if I'm trying to relax, watching the hyperlapse death of my home solar system sounds terrifying. How does the text deal with that?
That is a brilliant question, and it actually addresses a very common misconception about falling into a black hole.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you do not see the entire future of the universe play out in fast forward.
Wait, really? Why not?
Because of how light behaves in that extreme gravity. As you fall closer to the event horizon, the light from the outside universe that is trying to reach your eyes is also falling into the gravity well.
Okay.
But remember, space is flowing incredibly fast here. So the light from the stars behind you gets stretched out. This is called gravitational redshift.
The wavelengths of the light are literally being pulled apart.
Exactly. As the waves of light stretch, their frequency drops. Visible light stretches into infrared, then into microwaves, then into radio waves.
So it shifts on the spectrum?
Yes. So if you look back at the universe, you don't see a chaotic, blinding strobe light of fast-forwarded civilizations. You see the light of the universe slowly dimming, shifting into a deep, warm red, and then gently fading to black.
Oh, wow. That changes everything.
It doesn't look like chaos. It looks like a fire slowly dying down to embers.
It's not a hyperlapse at all. It's like a dimming theater. The lights are just going down before a show.
And that physical reality is exactly what makes the time dilation so profoundly comforting in the text. Think about the burden of time we carry on Earth.
The constant ticking clock.
The feeling that we are constantly running out of time, that we are wasting our lives, that the deadline is always approaching. The text uses the mechanics of relativity to completely remove that burden.
By stating that millions of years might pass outside while you take a single breath, the text essentially grants you immortality, but without the burden of having to actually live forever.
Right.
You are gifted a moment of eternity.
You're perfectly insulated.
Yeah.
The gravity of the black hole acts as an impenetrable shield against the rush of time. The civilizations and the orbiting planets you left far behind are racing frantically through their existences, consumed by their own urgencies.
I'm just chilling.
You are exempt. You aren't losing time. Time simply ceases to be a metric that applies to your reality. You are beyond the reach of the ticking clock.
That is so freeing. So with the universe dimming to a warm red behind you and time stretching into this luxurious, endless pause, we reach the actual crossing of the boundary.
The event horizon itself.
And again, based on all the sci-fi tropes, I was totally braced for impact. You know, you expect the dashboard of your ship to flash red. You expect a siren or at least some physical jolt like hitting turbulence.
A speed bump on the fabric of reality.
Exactly. But the text is so careful to clarify that crossing the event horizon is completely invisible.
Tealess.
It explicitly states there were no alarms, no explosions, no dramatic flashes. Nothing suddenly changes. You just cross.
Right.
The mathematics of your existence shift fundamentally, but biologically, sensorily, you feel nothing but the same smooth drift.
Because, as we discussed earlier, the event horizon isn't a thing. It's a coordinate.
It's just a line on a map.
It's simply the exact latitude where the river of space hits the speed of light. A swimmer going over a perfectly smooth waterfall doesn't feel a physical bump when they pass the point of no return.
Right, they just keep falling.
They only know they can't swim back.
But the visual environment does change shortly after this in a way that is utterly surreal. We drift down into a region called the Photon Sphere.
Ah, yes, the Photon Sphere.
And the specific details the text provides here are just wild. It asks us to imagine a realm where beams of starlight are trapped in endless orbital loops, a cosmic mirror made of pure light.
The Photon Sphere is such a fascinating region. It's the exact altitude above the singularity where gravity is strong enough to force photons, particles of light, into a circular orbit.
So they don't fall in.
They don't escape outward and they don't immediately fall inward. They just circle the drain indefinitely.
And the text says that because of this, reality begins to behave almost like a dream. It notes, if you look straight ahead, the light from the back of your own head has traveled all the way around the black hole and into your eyes.
It's true.
You would see the back of your own spacecraft. You might see the same star repeated multiple times, infinitely, across the sky.
A closed loop of elimination.
But let me stop you there, because conceptually, I really have to process this. If I'm sitting in a spacecraft and I look out the front window and I see the thrusters on the back of my own ship,
Yeah.
doesn't that fundamentally break the human brain? Doesn't seeing non-Euclidean geometry, where straight lines literally loop back on themselves, feel like being trapped in a funhouse mirror?
It sounds like it would be.
How is that not deeply disorienting and nauseating?
Well, instinctually, yes, an impossible geometry should be jarring. Because our brains evolved to navigate flat planes and straight lines on Earth.
Right, we're built for a flat-ish world.
But let's look at how the text gently frames this optical illusion. It doesn't present it as a trick or a trap. It explains that the universe is literally folding space and time around you like a blanket.
A blanket of trapped light. That's poetic.
Think of it as a cosmic cocoon. The visual repetition, seeing the same star over and over again, is the universe wrapping you in a perfectly self-contained reality.
A private universe.
You are visually cut off from the linear, straightforward, chaotic universe you left behind. The rigid rules of reality you grew up with no longer apply, and the text argues that this is actually liberating.
Oh, I see.
You are safe in a space where even light, the fastest and most absolute thing in the universe, just dances in circles for you.
It's like a visual lullaby. The repetition is soothing rather than confusing. It's the universe literally rocking you to sleep with starlight.
Beautifully put.
And as we pass through that luminous cocoon, we drift deeper into the interior. And this is where the tone of the source text shifts slightly.
It does. It gets very introspective.
The author, who has been so confidently explaining all the physics up to this point, essentially admits defeat. But they do it in this incredibly graceful way.
They acknowledge the limits of human knowledge. Because the farther inward you travel, the less our mathematical models actually function.
Right. The text says that inside the event horizon, predictions become increasingly difficult. We know space and time are wildly distorted, and theories suggest that hidden dimensions might unspool, or that space and time might literally swap roles mathematically.
Which is mind-bending in itself.
Totally. But ultimately, no human has ever traveled here, and no empirical data has ever returned. And it all points inward toward the absolute center, the
A
singularity.
point of infinite density, zero volume, infinite mass.
Mm.
The place where the equations of general relativity simply spit out infinity and stop working.
The complete breakdown of classical physics. And this is the moment in the journey where I found the text most challenging. Not because of the physics, honestly, but because of human nature.
What do you mean?
Well, we are deeply biologically wired to be problem solvers. We conquer the unknown by categorizing it, measuring it, and understanding it.
We conflate not knowing with being in danger.
Exactly. If I hear a rustle in the bushes, I need to know if it's a tiger or just the wind. My survival absolutely depends on answers. So, when faced with the singularity, the ultimate unknown, the core of the mystery, doesn't the human mind violently rebel against the lack of an answer?
It wants to figure it out.
Yeah. The text told us at the start there's nothing you need to solve. But sitting at the edge of infinite density, how do we just accept that the data is forever out of reach?
This is where the source material completely transitions from physics into pure philosophy. You're right that humans use understanding as a form of armor.
Yes, armor. That's a good word for it.
We think if we can just figure out the quantum gravity of the singularity, we can conquer it. We want to shine a flashlight into the dark. But the text proposes a radical alternative to conquering the unknown.
Which is what?
It asks you to simply revere it.
Revere it. Wow.
Look at the text's conclusion regarding the singularity. As you drift closer to the center, where relativity clashes with quantum mechanics and human mathematics literally shatters, the text states, "Not every mystery needs an answer. Some mysteries exist simply to inspire wonder."
Some mysteries exist simply to inspire wonder. Man, that is a stunning line.
It is the psychological climax of the journey. What the author is doing is using the literal breakdown of the laws of physics to facilitate a psychological release for the reader.
It's giving you permission to stop trying.
Explicit permission to let go of the desperate, exhausting human craving for absolute control. The singularity isn't a puzzle you are failing to solve. It is a monument to the limits of our perception.
That's incredible.
By accepting that the truth of the center remains unknowable, that the universe is perfectly capable of keeping this secret forever, you are freed from the obligation of trying to figure it out.
It's the ultimate permission to lay down your armor. You don't have to be a scientist taking measurements. You don't have to be a survivor analyzing threats. You are invited to just be a witness to the majesty of the unknown.
Letting go of the need to understand everything is arguably the deepest form of cognitive relaxation a human being can experience. It is the complete cessation of mental striving.
And that cessation of striving, that total cognitive relaxation, is the final necessary step before reaching our ultimate destination.
The bottom of the well.
Because once you surrender the need for answers, you enter the final chapter of our source text, the deep dive into the ultimate cosmic silence.
The culmination of the descent, the ultimate sensory deprivation tank of the cosmos.
The language here is incredibly somatic. It focuses entirely on the physical feeling of release. The text says, now the universe becomes quiet. Completely quiet, no rushing thoughts, no worries, no noise.
Beautiful.
It describes the final fading of the dim red stars behind you. Time and space have lost all measurable meaning. You are floating effortlessly through a boundless sea of calm, every muscle softening, drifting into the deepest silence in existence.
It is profound because of the systematic way the text earned this silence. It didn't just tell you to relax.
No, it walked you there.
It spent the entire journey dismantling the architecture of your stress.
It really did. It stripped reality down to the studs. I mean, let's review it. First, it took away the Earth and the physical proximity of our daily deadlines. Then it took away the sun, dismantling our biological urgency and the pressure of daylight. Then, at the event horizon, it took away our ability to make choices, completely curing our decision fatigue.
Then it used relativity to take away the ticking clock, shielding us from the rush of time.
Exactly. Then it took away linear geometry in the Photon Sphere, wrapping us in a cocoon of light. And finally, at the singularity, it even took away the laws of physics and the human compulsion to understand.
The masterful progression.
It systematically removed every single hook that reality uses to grab our attention. All that is left at the very end of this massive cosmic gravity well is pure, unadulterated existence. Just you and stillness.
If we synthesize the entire emotional and intellectual arc of this source material, it stands as an astonishing feat of reframing.
It really does.
It takes the most extreme, the most absolute, most incomprehensibly dense and inescapable environment in the entire universe, and it meticulously transforms it into a perfectly safe harbor.
It redefines the very concept of a black hole from a site of destruction to a site of preservation.
Exactly. And the silence at the end of the text is not just a mere absence of noise. The author describes it as a silence beyond time and beyond fear.
A silence beyond fear.
It is a heavy, blanketed silence that gently embraces the listener. By stripping away all the external variables, light, time, gravity as a violent force, the anxiety of the unknown, it creates a psychological space where the mind has absolutely nothing left to hold on to in the best possible way.
So what does this all mean for us? Sitting here in our atmospheric gravity, tethered to our circadian rhythms, not actually falling into a supermassive black hole.
How do we apply it?
Right. I think the beautiful paradox of this source material is that simply contemplating a point of infinite density, imagining an inescapable gravity well, and the stretching of space-time can actually serve as the ultimate tool for mental lightness.
It is a remarkable mental exercise. It proves that scaling up our perspective to the cosmic level can shrink our daily anxieties down to zero.
It really does. It puts everything into perspective. And before we close out this deep dive into the cosmic silence, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over.
Oh, I love these. Let's hear it.
Something you can take with you from this journey into the dark. If crossing a cosmic event horizon, surrendering entirely to the massive, invisible currents of the universe is the ultimate act of letting go, how might you construct a miniature event horizon in your own daily life?
Ooh, a personal boundary of relativity.
Exactly. What if you could draw a line in your day, a specific hour or a specific room, a personal boundary where the noise, the emails, the deadlines, and the endless demands of the world simply cannot cross?
An absolute boundary.
A point of no return for your daily stress, where the physics of anxiety break down, leaving you perfectly safe on the inside to just exist in peaceful wonder.
A localized space where you are deliberately beyond the reach of the ticking clock, where the universe asks absolutely nothing of you.
That's the goal. Something to think about tonight as you power down your own personal spaceship and disconnect from the grid. We hope this exploration of cosmic mechanics and profound silence brought you a deep sense of calm.
It certainly did for me.
As the source material says so perfectly at the end of its journey, allow yourself to drift deeper and deeper into peaceful sleep. Good night, sleep well, and let the universe watch over your dreams.